What would happen if you take rock and roll, rockabilly, 50s monster B movies, and everything just juvenile eloquent, hedonistic, and just full of raw energy. You put that in a blender, add a whole bunch of like LSD in there, and drink it, you would get the cramps. That's right, the Cramps. Probably one of the cutest, craziest, coolest bands ever existed in the face of the universe. These alien demons, hillbillies, came to Earth to corrupt the youth with rockabilly music, charged with punk and B movies, and we're gonna celebrate them today, man, by telling you the history of the Cramps. Kick back and chillax, man, or rock and roll, what they would probably more refer. Eric Lee Perkaiser was born in 1946. His first musical love was Hank Williams, and his favorite song was You Cheating Heart. He said music was just something to get him into the mindset at the time, but it wasn't really a serious business until his brother got him into something what is bigger than life. Rock and roll. His brother, being a big fan of rock and roll, and he even played in a band where he played piano. He played that kind of Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard stuff. Young Perkaiser was hooked. All his life, he wanted to be a teenager. At this moment, he said his brother turned him into a juvenile delinquent. When he was one time at a show at the Hop, meeting the high school gym, the band, his brother's band, or one of the bands, I don't really know, the cops stopped him. A police officer stopped him because this kid who was in the rock and roll band was smoking a cigarette, and the cop told him to put that out. And so he did. He spit at the cop and said, yeah, in typical 1950s hooligan fashion, he said, "What's it to ya?" Lux wanted to be that kid. Another one of Lux's loves was this radio DJ, or disc jockeys, what they were called back in the day, called the Mad Daddy. He would pretty much make these crazy things happen and basically play some of Sir Rock and Roll music. Lux was looking for the darker underbelly of rock and roll in life. Chrissy, and that's all I'm gonna call her because, well, I don't really know how to say her last two names. I'm sorry, Poison Ivy. But anyway, now we're getting to the history of her now. She lived in a military family, had to move a lot. Basically, she had a hard time making friends because of this. And when she got older, she pretty much became what she called the bad girl. You know, dressing debauchery, smoking cigarettes and stuff. Her first musical love actually was these novelty tunes. Like the Purple People Eater and stuff like that, or Monster Mash, So, but she also liked a lot of surf. And what's really interesting about her, she was self-taught to play guitar. She had to teach herself. Now, of course, her older brother, kind of similar to Rux in many ways of getting her into music, did taught her a couple notes on the guitar, but really it was just her. It was pretty much all her. Her hero, when she got a little older, was Wink Wei. And oh man, if you don't know who Wink Wei is, by the way, check him out. But Wink Wei pretty much taught her how to play spiritually. She didn't know him, of course, but her hero was Wink Wei. She was hooked on this type of music. And she always wanted, interestingly enough, to play in a band called the Cramps. Interesting how things go. Chrissy would go on life, and when she got a little older, she would attend the same thing as Eric Lee Perkaiser, the shamanistic class. Like most people, Eric was very afraid in the late 60s or early 70s of the Vietnam War. Afraid that he was gonna get drafted, he traveled to San Francisco to pretty much go to a shamanistic college. Now, I couldn't really find a shamanistic college, but from what I heard, it was basically, you didn't get A's or F's. It was just kind of like everybody got an A. And it was hippie mumbo jumbo. Okay. But yeah, he took this class. And this is pretty much where he met Ivy. Now, you gotta take this story with a grain of salt. Because, well, apparently they said they met when Ivy was hitchhiking and he picked her up. But apparently, that never happened. Which makes sense if you think about it, because they always like to myth their past a little bit, which ain't a bad thing. I think every rock star did that. But yes, they met somewhere in the college, and after that, they became boyfriend and girlfriend. They were sick of San Francisco, basically. They were so sick. Keep in mind, this was the late 60s, early 70s. And they were kind of sick of what was going on, what been going on for years now, the hippie culture. Not that they didn't necessarily believe in peace and love, but they just felt like the original hippies were gone, and it just got so marketed. Everything got so brown and earth shoes and crap like that, and they were sick of what was coming out in the so-called rock and roll scene. Bands like Deep Purple and King Crimson, they just couldn't take it. And especially because these bands just seemed so complex for the sake of being complex. They seemed so... Rock and roll no longer seemed juvenile anymore. It was just made for adults now, and it was complicated they necessarily didn't like, even though that was one of it. The main problem they had with it is rock and roll was just becoming another commodity in the world of big bucks, basically. Money. And they wasn't alone on this. They read a newspaper about CBGBs in the New York so-called punk rock scene. Bands like the Ramones, the Talking Heads, Television, Blondie, all those bands, the Dead Boys. They were very interested in the Ramones. And who wasn't at the time, really? And it didn't disappoint. The Ramones had so much energy to them. And really, that and the New York Dolls, that's what they wanted to be. But they wanted to do something kind of different at the same time. Hey guys, this is a really long history and a lot to do, so please meet me again at part 2 where we talk about them getting into record collecting, them forming the Cramps, and pretty much everything there. Tell me what you think about this video and if I did a good job or not, and have a good day, and I'll see you at part 2.